Another piece of NBA 2K18 news, which you just pointed out to me before we started recording, as reported by our friends over at Operation Sports, noted this, is that the NBA 2K18 soundtrack has been revealed. And some, to use that word again, Ben, interesting choices, I guess, for, for some of them.
Yeah, first song off the rank that I can remember from the list. It was like a big no from me. Oh wait, no, sorry, second song I should say that's on the list there.
That's the classic CNC Music Factory, Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance,
Yeah.
also known as Everybody Dance Now.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, and then made sure that was the song that I thought it was. It was like, no. So that one's going to be probably the first song muted off the whole thing.
Not going to be on your playlist.
No, I'd even try and crack the game, in terms of like the coding aspect, to try and just remove the song entirely.
The song, just don't want to see it. Yeah. So it's a lot of musical genres as they've been doing in recent years: hip hop, classic rock, and you can see that with going way back with Hip Hop Hooray by Naughty by Nature, which was on the NBA Live 2000 soundtrack, as you may recall. Game, of course, NBA Live 2000 released in 1999. But that song that's early 90s, I'm pretty sure. Like even in 1999, that song was a few years old.
Because
the NBA they had a video, NBA Rising Stars, funnily enough, and it focused on the players that were coming along in the early to mid 90s, and like Chris Webbers and stuff and such like that. I believe. It might have been Larry Johnson when he was a young grandmama. Just an oxymoron there, but that they had the young players at the time. They did a cover with it called Hip Hoop Hooray. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that one. I think I might have posted it a few years back when I came across it on YouTube. It's probably still there actually, but it's the NBA cover of Hip Hop Hooray by Naughty by Nature. Hip Hoop Hooray with talking about all the young players of the early 90s. There, who of course are all, I guess, pushing 50 now, which makes me feel old too, and I'm just over 30. So it was kind of old at the time, and I kind of wish that one of the games got Hip Hoop Hooray in the game, because that was it's kind of a good cover of doing that. I Can't Drive 55, Sammy Hagar, puts Pour Some Sugar on Me, Def Leppard. So we've got, and Sirius by Alan Parsons Project, which of course is the intro song for the Chicago Bulls, and lots of other teams have started to use that as well. The Scorpions. So yeah, they've got some classic rock and such on there as well, but also more up to date stuff. On top of that, just looking at some of the other things, nothing really stands out to me apart from that. As this is, I guess, again, over 30, not listening to the radio as much as I used to, and it kind of flies over my head. I guess some of them I might like, and others, as you say, you might end up muting.
Yeah, well, for me, the standout song is "Wrote My Way Out" with Nas and Dave East and Lin-Manuel Miranda, who, for those who don't know, is the guy that wrote Hamilton, the big play that's going on.
Right. Okay.
Based on what's his name? Which Hamilton is it? It's now the first name is not Richard Hamilton. Damn it! Now I forgot the guy's first name.
Alexander.
Alexander, yeah, because I was going Anthony Hamilton. I was like, no, that's another artist.
That's an artist, yeah.
So it was like,
he's on Live 06, possibly, Anthony Hamilton?
Yeah. And he was on a couple other, I think even potentially like 08 or 09 as well. I think that was another song he featured in.
But the musical's not about him, basically.
No.
About American founding father
Alexander
Hamilton. And again, we are Australians, so please forgive us for not being totally up on our American history. They barely teach us Australian history, in fact. Or maybe we were just too busy skipping class, being the bad boys we are then. But I digress. So that's a standout for you. Anything else that I'm just scrolling up and down the screenshot here on OS just to see if anything really jumps out at me. But yeah, I guess only the classic rock and such are the ones that I have. I suppose Sirius by Alan Parsons Project, because of the Chicago Bulls connection, stands out to me.
Mace, Naughty by Nature, Busta Rhymes. Can't remember if that's the Mobb Deep song. I think it is. Obviously, Outkast with So Fresh and So Clean. That was the classic.
I think Shook Ones, that's been in a previous 2K game, hasn't it? Because Another Victory by Mobb Deep was live 2004.
Yeah.
So, and a couple of Mobb Deep songs in live over the years, but not that particular one. I've got a feeling that was 2K, that one.
Might be.
Because 2K has repeated songs here and there. I mean,
Yeah.
but actually, this is very exciting news for Kenny, who we hope to have back as soon as possible. No creator by Sandergold, so they've ditched that this year. So unless that's going to be DLC, maybe.
I can see them going there. Right?
I'll have to let him know about that if he hasn't seen that already. That's
yep.
That's good news for Kenny. So once again, I guess a range of songs. It's hard to know what else to say about the soundtrack, but the other thing, I guess, while you're thinking if there's anything else you want to say about the songs, perhaps to finish up. But before we do that, it's worth noting that, and it ties back to what we were saying about the previous season, but man, I wish we were getting some actual information about the game and not the soundtrack. And it was kind of like this last year. We heard about the pre-order bonuses, a couple of ratings, the cover players, all that stuff, the soundtrack, and like it's August. The game comes out in what, say month, 6 weeks or so to the game coming out. Another month at the end of August, or 8 weeks to the game, or something like that. And yet, they're asking people to pre-order for the game, and it's going to be a pretty good product, because for all our complaints about 2K17, I do believe it was a strong product at the end of the day across the board. But there's lots of things we want to hear about improvements to the game, and to know that our complaints have been heard and that positive changes have been made to game modes and gameplay. And that's what I want to hear about, not the soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, soundtrack should have been really like 2 weeks ago at least,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely time for more substantial information now. And given the last 2 years that they've really stressed the whole pre-order stuff, and they've not really informed us, like given us a real reason to pre-order so soon in that,
people complained last year, and they brought out the tissues, which again was absolutely disrespectful to the community. That was really horrible. 2K really should have been ashamed of the way they treated fans last year. Their community guys just did a horrible job responding to that, when they could have easily said, "Hey, we can't say anything yet. It's on schedule. We really think you're going to like it. We're confident in the product. It's coming soon." But to mock the people who were very rightfully saying, "Hey, you're asking us to pre-order and pre-order and pre-order, and you're telling us nothing about the game itself."
Yeah.
That's kind of uncool, and for them to respond as they did was pretty disgusting. So I hope they do actually act with some kind of maturity and professionalism this year, to be frank. But so far it's the same story with the previous season, and I just hope that if they're spending all these money on these big, substantial soundtracks with these huge artists and everything, I hope they are considering Charles Barkley's offer to donate to the Retired Players Fund to get him into the game, or in some of the other players into the game, to make that gesture, or spend the money on that, because it's the soundtrack. If you really want to listen to your music while you're playing the game, you can just mute the soundtrack and turn on Spotify, because this is of course available to listen to on Spotify right now. You can just turn on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, or hey, you can, if you really want to go old school, break out the CDs or even the cassettes, Ben. If you've got an old boombox or something, set it up next to the PS4, Xbox One and PC, play it. But yeah, it's the way they treated fans last year was very shoddy, and I hope that they can handle themselves a bit more professionally this year, and then we do get news that it's a bit more substantial than the soundtrack. Because I don't have anything else to say about the soundtrack, because it's just the soundtrack.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple other songs on there that I listen to, but I don't know. There's probably only going to be really like half a dozen songs that I'm going to particularly listen to for on this soundtrack. I agree in terms of the way they handled things last year in terms of the PR stuff, and then even just giving out releasing information about it, and given the way the game did, as much as there was some forward steps in the game, and that compared to previous the last year, and that there was there's a couple of steps back as well in terms of polish and things like that, and just the game probably wasn't as completely solid in terms of, and given what some PR stuff in terms of what was promised in the game wasn't actually there in the end. It just I think a lot more people will be hesitant now to do the pre-order until they know for certain, and then if they can't do a repeat of last year where all the information basically came out like 2 days before the game, and that sort of sense
Felt
came
like
out.
It, yeah. Well, we were still getting a couple of the developer blogs after the game came out.
Yeah,
which was like unprecedented, I think.
Yeah.
But, Live 18 is obviously looking pretty good. There's a lot of more positive buzz, although I think EA's kind of let that die down a little bit too much. I think they should have kept pushing through information about their game. So again, this leaves us with a very disappointing and quiet preview season, at least up until September. It's it is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is, and hopefully they do. Obviously, we hope that 2K18 is a great game, and Live 18 too. But we want to start to hear that information. We definitely don't want to be talked down to as consumers. That's just not cool at all.
Yeah, agreed. You just hope that the polish and that in both games is there, and that, no steps backwards in a lot of ways, and just the mishandling of information and in terms of that was a big thing for me personally, and I know a lot of other people as well, especially for those again who did pre-order thinking, and then what was promised there was not there. So I think even for me, like what happened with 2K17 does have a reflection of, I mean, yes, I want to play Pro-Am with you guys straight away, that's for sure. So it's even again like how I was kind of a little bit uncertain if I was going to get the game last year.
I remember, yeah.
Again, that sort of hesitation factor is there for me again. It's like, do I? But that's going to be the big drawing card for me, is playing online with you guys, the whole team, and that. So it's like that's where I'm torn. If the game's not going to be polished again, and then I don't want to spend like the $100+ after the purchasing the actual game, physical game, and that.
Get the VC. Get the
I don't want to go through that shit again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, cha-ching.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, that's fine. It was disgusting, as I said, and I hope that they have learned from some of that backlash, because some of those tweets were deleted. And I do hope that we are treated a little bit better, and that we have good news. I mean, I'm sure that we are going to hear some cool things about the game, and I certainly hope that we get the improvement that we've been hoping for. But got to treat your customers a little bit better than that.